Hey there, I'm Sandy Reese, Chief Encouragement Officer here at Get Fully Funded, where we help small nonprofits learn how to raise the money they need to fully fund their mission. I'm here to help you learn how to master the art and science of fundraising, and I've got a great tip for you in just a moment. But before we get to that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that the next time we post a really great tip like this one, you're among the first to know. Okay, on to this week's tip.
So what do I mean by a broken funding model? A broken funding model is a way that a lot of people think might be good for raising money, especially for a new or young nonprofit, but in fact, it's probably not a great way to raise money. So what I want to do is walk you through 6 that I see all the time. I see people try to use these. I see the same questions asked over and over in some of the really big Facebook groups. If you've ever hung out in some of those, you know what I'm talking about. There's people who are new and get in there and they ask some of the same questions. And the questions are innocent enough, but there's some assumptions underneath that are just not working. So my whole intention here is to keep you from wasting a lot of time on things that just don't work. I don't want you to do that. All right, so let's dive in. These are funding models that you probably don't want to use, and there's a couple of them that I'm going to have to explain because at first blush they're not going to make any sense, but stick with me. Here we go. The first one is self-pay. If you're a founder, you've started the organization, you've probably already paid for some stuff out of your own pocket. It's real easy to want to keep paying for stuff out of your own pocket, but here's the truth. If you have a big vision for what you want to accomplish in your organization, if the need is huge, you probably cannot pay for all of it out of your own pocket, and you shouldn't pay for all of it out of your own pocket. And here's why. You know that old saying, many hands make light work? Well, it's very true when it comes to funding. You want a big, loyal donor base around you. You want people in your sphere who love the work your organization is doing and want to see you win. They're going to give their time, their talent, their treasure, and then they're going to turn around to their friends and go, come over here, you got to see what's going on. They're going to pull in other people to it. And that's how organizations grow. And so if you're the only one paying for things, if you're fortunate enough you can just keep writing a check for everything, you are missing opportunities to pull other people in, other people's energy, other people's enthusiasm, other people's connections, their ideas. Like, you're missing all of that. So don't try to pay for everything yourself. Grab some other people around you. If you're wondering where do you find new donors, there's a whole article over on our blog about how to find new donors for your organization. For those of you who are in our fundraising TV program, we've got all kinds of stuff in there for you as well. But the point is, don't pay for everything yourself. Chances are really good that is not sustainable. Yeah, you can do it just to get your organization launched and get it off the ground. You can't do it long term. So self-pay, steer away from it. All right, the next one is what I call sole source funding. That means you're getting all your money from one place. It might be one big donor, one grant, which is very dangerous. More on that in a minute. One event, or if your organization works in animal welfare, maybe you're trying to live off of your best friend's grant, or you're trying to live off your adoption fees. Having one source of funding is like trying to sit on a one-legged stool. It just is not going to work. It's going to fall at some point. We have had 2 or 3 clients in the last 15 years that have showed up and said, hey, we need help. We were getting this one grant from the state of fill in the blank, state of Tennessee, state of whatever, and the state, their budget shrank and they cut our grant, and now we don't know what to do. Like, literally, one organization that we tried to help, they had a grant from the state of Tennessee for $750,000, and they didn't even bother to try to raise money in any other way. They were just comfortable. They were too comfortable with that grant. That grant went away overnight, and they panicked, as they should. As well they should. So they called us, and I said, I don't know that we can fix this overnight, because they had no donor base. They had nothing to work with. $750,000. So needless to say, they had to cut some things and scale way back until we could get funding going from other sources. Don't try to live off one source, not one grant, not one major donor, not one event. I can tell you another story about an organization that had an amazing fundraising event that was very successful, but it made up easily about 35 or 40% of their budget. That's a lot. You don't really want that. You don't want any one donor, event, grant, or source of revenue making up more than about 20%. Even that's a stretch. So that event went away because the volunteer who was coordinating it decided she was done. She had been doing it for several years. She left. There was nobody else to step in and pick it up. And so the event just fell apart, which was very sad. And so now all of a sudden the organization is scrambling because where they used to have $100,000 coming from this event, now they have nothing. And they had no way to make up that revenue. So be very careful about sole source funding. All right, let's go on to broken funding model number 3, and that is rich people. Okay, look, I know when you're just getting started or when you need to grow, your tendency is going to be, let's get a list of everybody who lives in the wealthiest neighborhood in town. We'll just send them a letter. Let's target the rich people. Let's go after people. Here's what I want you to get out of this. It doesn't matter how much money somebody has. It matters how much they value your work. In other words, people don't give based on their wealth. They give based on your value. Write that down. People don't give based on their wealth. They give based on your value. And that's all about their perception. So if they perceive that your organization is doing something amazing to address a need in the community or in the world somewhere, and they perceive that you're the best, your organization is the one that needs to do it, and it is worth supporting, they're going to give. They're going to hit the donate now button. They're going to write a check. They're going to drop cash in the bucket. It's all about your value and how they see you. So if you've been around very long, you know that I'm all about messaging. How you tell your story, what you say, the words you use, it is critical. It's critical. One of the very first things we do with our clients is we start with core number, because there's a big difference between saying, hey, help us reach our $10,000 goal, and for $6.20, you can provide a day's worth of care to a homeless dog or cat. Those are real different. Guess which one works? This one, when you can tell people how much it costs. So the messaging is key, and that is what's going to motivate somebody to give. Truly, people give based on how much they care about those you serve and about the situation those are in, whether it's animals or people or the environment. So it's not about how much money they have. And truly, I've seen this myself. I bet some of you have too. The people who you don't think have the most money are usually the ones that give the biggest percent of what they have. So as a percentage of their overall income, it's the people who probably don't have as much to give who give a bigger percentage of what they have. So just keep that in mind. Don't go trying to target rich people, even if you really need big amounts of money. You want to target caring people. Who are those who care the most about the work your organization is doing? And one big hint on that is start with the people who are already around your organization. They care. Who do they know? Remember that birds of a feather flock together. So if you ask your best donor, your biggest donor, somebody who's already given to your organization to help you reach out, they probably have friends who can give at the same level that they're giving, and that's where you want to start. All right, so stay away from self-pay. Stay away from sole source funding. Stay away from rich people. Number 4, I'm going to have to explain this one. Be very careful about grants. Now, before you go, wait. Grants can be amazing. We have grant writers on our staff. I have written grants myself. I've gotten tons of money in grants. But if your organization is new, if you're young, if you're trying to solve an immediate problem, if you need money fast, grants is not the answer. You are not going to get quick money with grants, and you are probably not going to get money for a new or a young nonprofit with grants. Grant funders like to see 3 to 5 years of experience under your belt because they want to know that they're investing in a proven organization. They want to see you have a track record. They want to know that you're going to be good stewards of their investment. Okay, so be real careful. We get phone calls all the time here of people who innocently think, oh, well, if you can just go get grants for me, then we'll just have all the money we need. We don't have to do all that fundraising stuff. That's not how this works. Grants are great and they can bring a lot of revenue in. And as a matter of fact, I don't want you to miss out on grant money, but it's usually great for programs or projects, equipment, or real specific needs. And you got to do the research. You got to know what you're looking for so you can match what a funder wants to fund with a need that you have, because not everything is a good match. So be real careful about thinking, oh, well, we'll just go get grants and we'll pay for everything. Doesn't work that way. Okay, here's another one. This is probably the biggest one, maybe. This one or the next one. This is number 5, and that is fundraisers, little fundraisers or events. Can we all just take a breath and roll our eyes on this one? So many organizations, and especially when people really don't understand how to ask for money and how to build their donor base, they think, well, we'll do a fundraiser. We'll just do this little thing. We'll just sell t-shirts. We'll sell candy bars. We'll go have a spaghetti dinner. We'll sit out front at Walmart. We'll like all these little things. And the problem is these little things are very labor intensive. They're usually not planned real well, and they don't normally bring in a lot of money. The money that comes in is usually little nickels and dimes. You guys know what I'm talking about, I'm really sure. Some of you have already laughed. You're like, yeah, we did one of those last week. If you spend all your time with these little events or these little fundraisers, you don't have time to go do things like building a monthly giving program or running a signature event or doing something else that's going to bring money in the amount that you really, really need. I had a client many years ago that had, I'm not kidding you, 6 fundraising events during the year. And it was everything from a black tie event to a barbecue dinner to a golf tournament and a walk. I don't even remember what all they did. And I remember looking at that and saying, aren't you tired just thinking about all these events? And the director said, well, yeah. I said, listen, if you're tired, your audience is tired. Especially if you're going to the same people over and over and saying, buy your ticket to the golf tournament, get your walk ticket, come to the barbecue dinner, come to the black tie. That's exhausting. Don't do that. So if that's your approach to fundraising, we need to fix that now. You can't do that without losing people, because people just get tired of feeling like they're being hit up over and over and over to buy tickets. If they really care about your organization, they'll tolerate that to an extent, but at some point you're going to lose them. So it's better to have a fundraising plan where you have a couple of those things and you're strategic about them, and you're strategic about segmenting your audience so you're not asking everybody to come to your golf tournament, only those people who are interested in golf. How do you do that? You ask them, and then you segment in your donor base. You pay attention to what emails people are opening, what they're clicking on. You can do a survey. There's so many ways to do that, but you got to be strategic about it, not do event after event after event. Now, having said that, there are ways to think about and layer activities and fundraisers. But again, you got to pick the right ones. You got to pick the ones that make sense. And if you're doing things online, which a lot of people are right now, right? Because we can't have spaghetti dinners in person the way we used to. Fundraisers online move a little bit differently than in-person things do. I mean, think about how much stuff you do during a day. You do a lot, right? People are used to things moving very quickly online. And so you actually can do a few more things online. You can have a signature event, or maybe 2, if you do it right and you segment it right. You can have some mid-level kinds of activities like a Giving Tuesday or some appeals. And then you can have tiny little fundraisers like a $5 Friday or dropping your wish list in for Amazon. But you got to be strategic. You can't just ask, and ask some more. That's exhausting. So if you really think about it, and in between those asks, you're making people feel good with stories and video and updates and lots of thank yous with lots of donor language, lots of hero language. Then you can ask a little more frequently, but you got to have the big picture plan. If you don't have the big plan, then it's going to be easy to slip right back into that, hey, fundraiser. And the truth is, I've seen this time and time again, people who don't really understand how donor-based fundraising works, like some of your volunteers and your board members, they do what they've seen before. You know what they've seen before? Pancake breakfasts and car washes and t-shirt sales and things like that. So those are the ideas they're going to crank out. So it's up to you to help them understand that that's probably not the best way to raise money. Although I have seen everything work really, really well. I've seen people make tens of thousands of dollars on spaghetti dinners and t-shirt sales and things like that. But most organizations don't put the kind of planning and strategy and execution. They don't have the kind of reach they need to do tens of thousands of dollars on those kind of fundraisers. So if that's you, it's okay. Just know that I want you to really be purposeful about what you choose to do and put everything you've got in it so that you can hit it out of the park. You're going to feel a lot better working hard on one thing and raising big, big bucks on it rather than doing lots of little things that you raise little tidbits of money on. That's exhausting. Don't do that. All right, the last broken funding model, and this is another one that we got to be real careful with, and that's crowdfunding. An awful lot of people, when they don't know better or when they're just getting started, they think, oh, we'll just go start a GoFundMe. I'll just go post our need on GoFundMe and the money will pour in. That's not really how it works. Now, I'm not a real big fan of crowdfunding done that way because nobody wakes up in the morning and says, oh, it's a beautiful day. I feel like giving some money away. Let's go on GoFundMe and go see what people are needing. Nobody does that. When you set up a fundraiser on GoFundMe or any other platform, you still have to tell people about it. So it's still up to you to spread the word and drive traffic back to that page for people to give. Now, can crowdfunding work when it's done right? Yes, it can. You can do peer-to-peer fundraising and let people reach out to their connections and their friends, and you can raise some good money that way. Now, there's been a lot of people in our Facebook group asking lately about Giving Grid, which is one of my favorite tools. It's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, you're not going to just post on Giving Grid and expect people to show up and find you. You have to still share out your link and explain why this is needed, why this is important. And the people will come back and give there. Okay, so just to recap, those broken funding models: self-pay, don't pay for everything yourself. Sole source funding, don't sit on a one-legged stool. Rich people, don't target people based on their wealth. Grants, only go after grants when it's the right fit and you're ready. Events, don't do little event after little event after little event. And crowdfunding, don't post and expect people to come find you and give. That's not how any of this works, okay? If you do need help with a fundraising plan so that you can figure out what you should be doing, come join us next week. I'm leading Fundraising Blueprint. I'm going to walk you through how to put together a comprehensive, well thought out annual fundraising plan. And I'm going to teach you how to think about it in layers, which is going to make a lot of sense to you. I'm going to tell you what to include and what to leave out. And we're going to talk about virtual strategies that are working right now. So you can get all the details and sign up at getfullyfunded.com/blueprint. It's a virtual workshop, so it's not a webinar. It's a Zoom where everybody will turn their camera on. I'll get to see you. You'll see me. You'll have breakout sessions, so you'll get a chance to chat with some other people, learn about what they're doing. I think you're going to love it. It is Thursday, February 4th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. Getfullyfunded.com/blueprint. Go grab your ticket. All right, you guys, have a great day. I'll see you later. Bye.